breaking off even before you even got out of the trash there. Like, what did you see from yourself?
I kind of had a two-man kind of almost police escort with AP and Tyler. But that's how those runs happen. Like you said, Tyler broke off before I even got into full stride. I mean, he seen that I was coming out of the run, and then he started just taking off looking for work downfield. That goes back to something I mentioned earlier, is just guys playing unselfishly and understanding that doing that will ultimately lead to a big play. And same thing for the running backs. If we have a fake or something in the flat, we're sprinting full speed, just maybe to pull one guy just 1 foot out of the passing lane so that Daniel can, deliver the ball downfield. So I think that's been a big part of our success this year.
We've noticed, like with Pitt and AP being great blockers. Do you think that's the way it is with all receivers, or are you blessed to have a good dude who's a good blocker?
There definitely have been stories of receivers who have not, played as hard as the receivers that we have. So I'm always thankful for the guys that we have, and I think that's a testament to the front office of how thoroughly they watch film and vet, like, hey, who are we going to bring in here? Are we going to get guys who are going to play all 4 downs hard and play for one another?
What do you do on the bye week? Do you have a set routine you've gotten over the years, or is it different year to year?
Yeah, you got to get a little work in, similar to what you would do if it was a normal week, to try and flush out some of that inflammation. But definitely on the back half of the bye week, you got to decompress. I think that's taking advantage of the bye week. Obviously, if you just spend the whole bye week working like a normal work week, then you really don't get that opportunity to recharge and reset. And I think that ultimately leads to an advantage to other players around the league who may have done so already. So I think it's a good balance between beginning of the bye week, getting some work in, flushing out the inflammation like a normal work week, but then on the back half, being able to just decompress, get some R&R in.
JT, you mentioned it a little bit when you were in Berlin, but as a former track guy, did you have a greater appreciation for doing what you did at the stadium that Jesse Owens won the 4 gold medals, and you know what was going on at that time?
Oh, no, definitely. I was telling a couple of my family members, it kind of feels like we kind of made history in that stadium as well. Like, almost we're a part of it. Of course, the magnitude of that was way different, but it just feels awesome to be able to share that with them. Like, hey, we were in a historic stadium with an historic kind of history, and we had our own little piece of history there.
Jonathan, I know you haven't played at Arrowhead, but what do you have to maybe be aware of going into that stadium?
I mean, obviously they've mentioned the noise, the volume level there a ton, so that's going to be awesome. Though I know that's going to be a challenge, but I mean, it's almost like in college when you have those big games in those loud stadiums and it's like 90+ thousand people there. I mean, it's exciting. But, of course, at this level, you got to make sure that we're on our alignments and assignments. But communication is going to be key, especially with what I've heard of how it's a hostile environment.
Is there anything you maybe learned about communicating with Daniel from that Pittsburgh game, which is also a pretty loud environment?
That definitely was loud. And I think a lot of that goes into the beginning of the week. Hey, how are we going to handle kind of the crowd noise? How are we going to handle that environment? Come in with different cadences. Come in with, hey, let's see what the crowd noise is like. Maybe it might not be as loud. You never know. So you just want to have all scenarios under your belt throughout the week so that whatever you get on Sunday, you understand that we prepare for it throughout the week.
This year, Carly's taking a different spotlight because of her becoming a principal owner, but you've been here for years. So what was it like before she stepped into, I guess, the big magnitude?
I mean, Carly has always been very personable, always had a smile on her face, always speaking to a bunch of the players, asking their opinions, always learning. And I think you mentioned it's this bit of more of a spotlight now because obviously, the role that she's moved into at the forefront. But she's kind of been doing some of the same things, and we've all known Carly and gotten to know her over the years. But I just think it's just been a magnitude or a magnifying glass put on her because it's something different. But at the end of the day, that's why this organization is such a great organization. And you don't get the type of hospitality, you don't get the type of family atmosphere that you get here other places. It's from what I'm told. I haven't been anywhere else.
How does she, I guess, build a relationship with you personally? Because a lot of guys walk and say, like, they go out of their way to make sure that I'm seen, I'm kind of felt heard. So what's that been like for you?
I mean, same thing always. I mean, from day one, at the end of the day, even with Mr. Irsay still being here, I mean, you obviously want to put that effort in the forefront to say, show your appreciation, get to know them because they did a ton of research on you. So they know a ton about you. Of course, they'll get to know you more over the years, but you obviously want to get to know who the ownership is, what is their philosophy, things about them and their family. But she's, like you mentioned, she's always gone out of her way to either create time, whether that's a specific, hey, I want to meet with you, or passing by in the hall, having a conversation with you. So that kind of energy being reciprocated, I think, is something that I don't know if it's everywhere, but I haven't heard too many places where ownership is taking a hands-on approach of trying to get to know their players on an individual level.
Jonathan, what did that run in Berlin maybe reinforce about patience? You talk about that a lot, right? Just letting blocks develop, the play unfold. Did it reinforce anything?
Definitely, but understanding that you can't give up on a play, and understanding the situation, too, that we were in. Obviously, we needed a first down, so you keep the legs churning, but guys just fall off. So being able to keep your eyes up and not just kind of bury in the offensive line and just get what you can get. It's, hey, I'm going to keep my eyes up, I'm going to keep my feet churning, and then you can turn a play into a touchdown like that.
About the way Daniel is wired and the way Shane is wired that allows them to have so much synergy?
No, they're wired the same. I mean, you guys have heard of how Daniel basically lives here. And when you pair that with Shane, I mean, I just imagine them in a meeting and they're sitting there for like hours just bouncing ideas off of one another and just thinking, how can we go into this game with the most advantageous looks and put all of us in the best situation possible. Because I mentioned to you guys before, Shane, I mean, he's come up before practice, hey, JT, this is what I'm thinking about. It's not on the script, but I want to try this at practice. So when you have a guy like Shane, a coach like Shane that's competitive as he is, and then you have a quarterback like Daniel who's also competitive but also is as dialed in to his craft as he is, I mean, you can get special things.
How do you in a game like this, you're playing a team that's won 3 Super Bowls in the last 6 years, was there last year. Shane talks about trying to keep a level head. Do you yourself, get hyped up for a big game like this, going to Kansas City, play the Chiefs? Do you try to stay level? How do you try to balance those two ideas?
Well, it's always great to go and play a former opponent like this. Like you mentioned, they've won 3 Super Bowls. So understand it's going to be a well-coached team. You don't just win, 3 Super Bowls without being well-coached. So understanding you have to stay patient. You'll have to be able to establish the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to be able to – it's going to be a 4-quarter game. It's going to be a 60-minute game. Obviously, like I just keep over-reiterating is you don't just win 3 Super Bowls without being talented, but also a well-coached team. So you can't get frustrated in games like this. You got to take it one play at a time, one snap at a time, playing at a high level every single snap.
John, still a national sentiment that this Chiefs team is, though they are 5-5, a lot of folks kind of see them maybe even as the favorite in this game. You guys are 8-2. You guys have the best offense in the league the entire year. Do you feel like this locker room might almost kind of embrace that underdog mentality of, look what we've done, and but we're still maybe not totally buying into the body forces?
Definitely. And like I mentioned, a former opponent, so obviously a lot of people out there giving them probably the benefit of the doubt, understanding that they're going to continue to fight. They're not just going to lay down, and which we understand as well. But we know it's going to be a 4-quarter game. We're going to fight, scratch, and claw until that clock strikes 0. And like I mentioned, we have to play at a high level every single snap going into this hostile environment.
Last one.
Jonathan, you guys have seen a lot of pressures, a lot of blitzes this year, because I think teams realize that if they don't, you'll do what you do, Daniel Jones will do what he does. Is that sort of just life now? I mean, you just sort of have to know going into every game that teams are going to heat you up on purpose.
Oh, definitely. And you understand, like, the more you keep winning, the more you keep having success, defenses and D coordinators are going to try to find different ways to get you guys off rhythm, behind schedule. So it's going to be on us to be able to handle that week to week, whatever the flavor of the game is, whatever they decide to bring, whatever they decide to do. We'll have to handle that with our alignment, assignment, and technique. Of course, the coaches will brainstorm each and every single week to put us in the best position. But then ultimately on Sunday, we have to execute.
Thanks, John.
Oh, thank you.
How much are you looking forward to this opportunity on Sunday in a big game there?
Looking forward to it. Great environment, great team going against well-coached competitors, and can't wait to play.
Is there anything you got to do with Mahomes that's just different because of how different he is?
Yeah, I mean, dual quarterback. He can get it on the run. He's able to pass the ball. Obviously, he's able to create some time with a rush, passes downfield. So he does that pretty well, giving you 50-50 chances on the ball downfield. staying poised, got to be disciplined versus the pass. So, but we got to earn the right to catch a pick or force a turnover versus those guys. We got to stop the run first and play together.
Kenny, with Mooney having his practice window open, it could be this week or next week or whatever. What do you think about the possibility of playing alongside a guy like that?
Great. I think he gives us a lot of versatility, experience, playmaking ability in the back end, as well as just on defense in general. He's a guy that has seen a lot of football, and I know he's excited to get back to Arrowhead.
In that locker room, a lot of you all have individual accolades. Obviously, he's won a Super Bowl. Is that motivating in any way? Like, oh, this guy right next to me has something that I want to go get too with him.
Not really. I think it's just more so, taking it one game at a time. Not so much looking at it from a bigger scope or bigger lens. I think it's questions that guys ask in the room as far as his experience and what he's able to see. Obviously, he's played, more games when it came down to the stretch of being in a big dance. But more so, we just want to learn from him, technique-wise, being disciplined, what he see out there from his lens, and just the respect and appreciation that comes with it.
Kenny, how do you think it changes things for quarterbacks when they look across the field and, at corner you got yourself, you got those two guys on the outside, and, you're probably thinking about some things if you're a quarterback. What do you think that?
I'm not really too sure from their lens, but I think that, it can be some situations where I think it's best on best is how I see it. So I think a guy just being out there with the guys in my room or the guys that we're going against, you just want to be at your best at all times. So I think that's kind of the mindset and mentality that goes into, trying to win a game.
And you've been around this franchise for a long time. What do you think Jim Irsay would make of the way you guys have risen back up to the top of the AFC? You talk about potential run to the Super Bowl. What do you feel like he would make about this group and what you guys have done so far this year?
I think Mr. Irsay would probably allude to the fact of going to win the division first. The AFC South is what he really cared about, and just being a player over the years. Seeing and hearing him, the way he spoke about the AFC South has been so important, and we just want to make him proud. Every day that we put the work in, just to make him proud. So he has some great daughters that are around here all the time, and we want to be able to play for him, his daughters, and everything that the horseshoe represents.
In what way do you see Jim and Carly in some way, and how she is the CEO and leader of this team?
The similarities, probably the time on task. Like before my time, Mr. Irsay, he was lifting with the team. Just being a guy that was able to live his dreams as a owner and just as a 1% to lead this team in the right direction. And she does the same thing. She has a lot of time on task in meetings and in the weight room, just seeing her work ethic and seeing how much, hard work she put into, the daily job. I think that's what a lot of people don't see. So, just being a player and I'm able to see a few other, more things. And on my perspective, it's been cool to see the hard work and dedication and just how intentional she is to be able to lead this team in the right direction.